My name is Koeshall from the Through the Fire Training Organization here at my gym in Tyler, Texas, the Metal Shop. And this is video 2 on the subject of Hubud, one of the base energy drills that we teach here. And what we're going to be doing is a quick review on what we learned in the first one, was the base drill. We also learned how to do a couple of switches to take you within rhythm and inside the drill from a right hand to a left hand and back to right hand feeds again. In this video, we're going to be concentrating on how to manipulate your partner, so how to move them. As we said, Hubud, the definition of that term means to tie and untie. The implication being, if somebody tries to attack you, to be able to avoid that attack or that tying up that they want to do, and to be able to untie and to manipulate them or keep them there to tie up with them, but in a way that's good for you, not good for them. So we like to start inserting things into this picture frame that we're building. Your base drill is like an empty pitcher. You want to fill it with something, whether you're filling a pitcher with water or you're filling a picture frame with a picture. So we start to insert things into that. This is important because it adds spontaneity to the drill. It also teaches you to be able to functionally apply a technique rather than having someone just stand still and give you something to push. You're having to find it in motion, find it in relative chaos within the drill, and then be able to do your technique from there. It helps us to bridge that gap between learning something and making it functional. So we're going to be doing some things from an art in the Philippines called Dumog, which is a manipulation art or a body movement art. And you'll see I'm going to give you first 4 pulls that have to do with pulling on an arm. And we'll be talking about choke points and how to grab the body or pull the body to influence it in certain ways that make it much easier because of leverage and balance. And then we'll be doing a couple of pushes as well from Dumog, which will help you to be able to maneuver this person around quite easily. And once you understand it, once you start to play with it and get to experiment with it, when you add the pushing and the pulling aspect to it, it really will be able to allow you to move an opponent much bigger than you at will, instead of having them be able to fight you. Because when they push, you'll pull, and when they pull, you'll push, and you'll learn how to feed that or feel it out of an energy or sensitivity drill. Okay, so now that you have an understanding of the base drill and how to work and how to start feeling pressure and moving around each other's pressure, now what we want to do is start adding things into that. Again, if you recall, this is just an empty container or a shell, and we need to fill it with things to make it meaningful. It also allows us to find our techniques under movement and pressure in varying conditions, not a sterile environment. It makes it a wee bit more dynamic. So from here, what I'd like you to do is add 4 pulls and 2 pushes, and this comes from what we call Dumog, which is an art from the Philippines, part of the Kali system, that has to do with manipulating of the body. So from here, and we'll just demonstrate on the right side, I'm feeding, Daniel passes it by. The first pull we're going to do, I lift up, and as I come down, instead of patting this down, I'm going to grab at his elbow, and I'm going to blanket his elbow with both hands. And as I do, I use my hip and pull down using my lats. So I'm just not trying to use my biceps. I'm actually just using my body weight to pull him slightly. The key here is to get at and above the elbow, because that's a choke point that you can catch and stick at. If I come down here, I tend to slide all the way down to his wrist. If I'm up here on his bicep, you'll tend to naturally come to where the 2 bones of the forearm come into the humerus here. So you want to be able to catch that there. Okay, so from motion here, boom. Daniel does it right there, just like that. Okay, the next one we're going to do is the same idea, but on the inside. So instead of coming on the outside, I'm going to come on the inside. Now, if I do this and pull, Daniel's going to be pulled right on top of me, which is bad for me. So I need to actually pass him by, grip underneath, again at that choke point, and pull him forward using my lat. So from here, just like that. On the outside, or on the inside. You notice we go with each other. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to stay within the confines of the drill. So Daniel goes ahead and does it here. Pulls me past. You notice he's not pulling me on top of him because he doesn't want to pull me into a bear hug situation or a double leg takedown. I want to make sure to move him past me, which is going to allow me to get to the rear and take his back. Okay, also known as an arm drag, just like that. Okay, then what we can do is we can move to the outside again, and I can get him to raise his hand up there. When that line is closed,
the open line is straight down here. So I'm going to have a choke point at the wrist, and then this is going to naturally fall right to here, and I roll and pull him forward like this. Be careful when you do this. All of these actually can cause a little bit of whiplash, so you need to be very careful when working with your partner. Here and down. Sometimes I can also do it here above and right at the deltoid here, getting his shoulder to drop. So Daniel does it to me. Yes, good. And you just roll. You roll this down and in like this. Okay, now I can do the exact same thing on the inside. I put that up and get his hand to respond, and then I'm going to do it again. I don't want to pull him straight into me because I don't want him to do a double leg takedown and take me down. So I'm going to pivot slightly, and as I do it, it'll throw his body around me like this. So I can do a double arm on the outside. I can do that arm drag to the inside. I can go to the outside and pull. And I can also move to the inside and pull him just like this. Okay, now we want to add in a couple of pushes. Right from here, I'm going to go to the outside. I'm going to pull him slightly to straighten out his shoulders. As soon as this line happens, I'm going to push his humerus up into his ear. So I'm going to take this bone and shove it up, just like that. If I don't turn his body into me and I push, if Daniel doesn't get twisted, all it does is push his shoulder back. It does nothing for me. I actually want to get him completely off balance. And this gives me a lot of power by twisting his spine. And I can move him quite easily. And he can move me quite easily by lifting up the shoulder and twisting the spine. The last thing we're going to do, be very careful with, we're just going to push the chin. So when I'm here, sometimes I might pull, and if Daniel starts to pull back, I can push. But if he continues to push forward, I just come right to here and push the chin. And this will move him very quickly and very easily as well. Again, the old adage, where the head goes, the body will follow. So this is a feeling game. I have to feel where it's appropriate to put these things in. If I want to step back and pull, that's fine. If I want to step back and pull, start to push, but he pushes at me really hard, that's when I need to come up and move his head. If I pull and he pulls away from me, that's when I follow him up here. And then, of course, you'll do that all on the left-hand side.
So now you've seen not only how to do the drill, how to switch sides, but you've also seen how to start moving your opponent around. It's important when you do the drill, as you saw, to move yourself around, but sometimes you want to be able to grab a hold of and manipulate or move your opponent around to put them in a disadvantaged position or to put you into an advantageous position. So you want to be able to move them around, and learning how to do that in rhythm and flow with that clashing that's happening, that tying and untying, is critical to be able to pull that off in a real situation. So I'd like you to play with that, play with the 6 different variables that I just gave you, but also see what else you can find. There's obviously ways to move around the back and pull them. There's ways to pull the head down, push the hip out, move the feet in certain ways, obviously to step on a foot and trip, to throw, and we'll get into more of that in a later video. In the next video, we're going to specifically be talking about adding strikes into your feeds. So rather than just the plain old angles from a cinco teros kind of orientation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've been doing a 1 and a 2 with the right and the left hand, what we're going to do is start putting in some jabs and some crosses, some boxing punches, and then draw out the gunting or destruction motions that you'll find in Panantukan right in your Hubud drill. So this again will start to promote that muscle memory that will allow you to just flow instantly without thought. When your body feels or recognizes that attack coming, you can just flow right into that response without thought.